from the very beginning. Hi, everybody. Anne-Marie Anderson alongside former Stanford standout Rosgold Onwude. And Roz, we've seen, nationally, taking a look at the national picture, some great guard play all over. We've got a terrific guard here in Patrice Lalor. Who are your top guards in this conference?
Well, you have to start with Temple's 1-2 punch, you know, with Shea Petty and Kristen McCarthy. You know, they're defenders. They're going to pester you throughout the court, but they're also excellent on offense. They have great handles. They can each score, and you've got to guard both of them. I want to highlight Jessica Jenkins from #1 in the conference, St. Bonaventure. She's averaging 15.6 points per game, and that was unexpected. She's knocking down threes, had 8 against George Washington, 42% from the three-point line. You really have to stretch out on her and guard her. And I'll also point out Epiphany Woodson from Charlotte, averaging 12 points per game. She's got an awesome crossover as well.
And Patrice Lalor, as you mentioned, for this team, 5 points already in the first half today. Let's broaden the picture a little bit and take a look at your Player of the Year candidate. It's always fun to put people on the spot with this.
I don't think I'm being that unique with these 3 choices. It's Brittany Griner, it's Elena Deladon, and it's Nneka Ogwumike from Stanford. You look at their numbers, all impressive. They all rebound the ball. How do these players differentiate themselves? Well, Deladon can also shoot the 3. She's shooting over 40%. Ogwumike has less help than Griner. Deladon has less help than Ogwumike. So, you know, Griner is dominant on both the offensive and defensive sides, but she's got a lot of help from Odyssey Sims, Brooklyn Pope. It's tough.
So you say you're not being that original. We'll put you directly on the spot then. Who do you think is the Player of the Year?
Well, first, does it
totally
matter?
On the spot.
Totally
yeah.
On the spot. Does it matter which team goes the furthest?
Your choice.
I'm going to say Nneka Ogwumike, not just because I went to Stanford, not just because of that, but also because she has less help than Griner. She's carrying a team that is inexperienced, doesn't have that much help at the guard position, very young, and carrying them to big victories against Tennessee. She's doing well in the Pac-12 conference. Griner is great, but she's got a lot of help.
All right, good job on the spot. When we come back, we'll talk about this game a little bit more, and it's specifically this woman, Samantha McCabe, the junior out of Dublin, Ohio, who already has 11 points in the first half. 9-0 lead in this game and has held onto it the rest of the way. Roz, when you take a look at the way this first half played out, what really was the difference beyond, we knew, the thin and the deep team?
Well, we said Xavier had to try and slow down this Dayton transition offense, and they did a pretty good job of keeping them in a half-court set. Unfortunately for them, Sam McKay has taken over in that half-court set, really found her offense. First, keeping her dribble alive, finding holes in the defense. There's no help side there. Then the defender goes under the screen, and she says, great, I'm going to step back and hit that. Now she's hot. The basket is big. Anything she throws up is good. And again, the defenders are still going behind the screen on her. At this point, she scored all these points. You got to adjust and get over the top.
When you look at the numbers, you see those 11 turnovers, 6 of them in the first 4 minutes. What other numbers jump out to you from this board?
Well, first and foremost, turnovers. You know, 11 for Xavier, but they actually had 10 for a long time in that first half. So they did, towards the end of the first half, they did cut down the turnovers, and they did figure out how to run their offense against a pesky Dayton defense.
Yeah, and you talk about that pesky Dayton defense. Xavier's first field goal of the game came at 12 minutes into the game, or 12 minutes remaining in the first half. So that shows you how buttoned up that defense was as the second half is underway.
You see Dayton, Lalor's back in the game running the 1. She only played 5 minutes in the first half, so she's cold as ice.
Kicked out Ellie Queen for 3, no good. Dayton takes a couple of 3-pointers early on. They keep getting the ball back. A third opportunity for them now.
Well, Xavier's in a 2-3 zone, which worked for them at the end of the first half, but now they can't rebound.
Inside, threads the needle to Justine Ratterman, who's been fairly quiet today.
Top players for Dayton, quiet, Ratterman and Lalor. Full court pressure. Quick shot from Xavier. That's not what they want to do. That's going to give Dayton the chance to run.
And to revisit running for Xavier, bad right now. They've got a couple of players who have played 40-minute games in the past, several 40-minute games. Taisha Moss and Shatira Hawks see an awful lot of minutes. So just kind of to revisit that, they play a lot of minutes and Dayton's been running them.
You know, you can't afford to let Dayton run, and you also can't let them execute in the half-court set here. Layler, just with the vision, heads-up play, sees Ratterman cutting behind the zone and slips a sweet pass in there. As I mentioned, Layler had only played 5 minutes in the first half. She came out first, drawing the defense, kicking out nicely to Queen, and now zipping a pass into Ratterman. That's a heady point guard. That's someone who's not, doesn't matter how many minutes they play, she understands the game.
Freshman Andrea Hoover, number 24 in red, hits both of her shots. She also was out part of the first half with 3 fouls. Lakeisha Crouch just picked up her 3rd foul, and so she is out for Xavier, and they really can't afford to have anybody in foul trouble. Oh, that ball put back from Ratterman.
Folks, watch this. Dayton's picking up full court, man, and then they're looking to trap. Player comes off the ball, tracks the person with the ball. Watch Xavier. They need to move without the ball. They can exploit this.
And Casey Nance gets her first foul, and so that's what you want to see, Roz, is Xavier exploiting the fact that Dayton's picking them up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when a team is trapping, that means that there are less players to guard all the other players in the paint. So as soon as you get out of the trap, you're now going 5-on-4, 5-on-3. It's opportunities to pass. But you can't expect the person getting trapped to have the angle to see everything. You've got to help them out and move.
And Xavier right now not moving enough for your taste.
No, and I've been in that situation, being trapped, and it's a horrible, you know, it's a horrible feeling when no one's helping you out. It's a team effort getting out of a trap.
Ball does not go for Jessica Patchko all the way around the rim.
Keep going inside to her. She's tough in there.
Yeah, and Patchko really put up some good numbers for this team in the first half. 8 points. She was her team's leading scorer.
On every possession, I think Moss should touch the ball and Patchko.
For 3, no good. Moss fighting off Ellie Queen to make sure that ball ends up in the hands of Shatira Hawks.
Xavier slowing the game down. Use the shot clock.
Tries to drive inside as Moss gets blocked by Ratterman. But Xavier with a second opportunity. Gray. Picked up yet again, Moss. Over to Amber Gray. And then finished by Patchko. Ten points for Patchko in this game, and Moss and Hawks taking a look at their first half minutes, right? And you see 40-minute games for these two players, the minutes per game. That's just going to continue for them in this today.
It's going to be the case today. It's going to be the case next game, the one after that. It's going to be an all-season thing. This team only has 7 players that play on the roster, and this is the strength. This is their backcourt. Point guards need to be on the court.
And you're saying slowing it down. You see them kind of slowing it down. And Xavier, with 7 players, they graduated several players. They had Lynette Holmes, who was playing 33 minutes a game, got suspended indefinitely for a violation of team rules. And some other players get injured, so that's kind of how they ended up in this position.
Yeah, and really you have to talk more about losing Lynette Holmes. That's 12 points per game and 5 rebounds. That's a huge hole in their productivity as a team. They're severely handicapped here without her. It's unfortunate when situations like that happen, though.
Hawks goes to Moss. They try to put it inside, and again, it's Ratterman's hands to break things up. And it's asked Coach before the game about number 34 in red, Justine Ratterman, kind of what does she mean to this team? And he said everything. She does everything for this team on and off the floor, really.
A leader by example. She's not the most athletic player, the fastest. She doesn't jump that high, but she makes up for lack of athleticism with effort. I'd say Taisha Moss and Justine Ratterman have the most heart on this court. Last year, Ratterman played through an ACL tear to lead her team.
But through an ACL tear, I mean, it's hard for people to even imagine that. the day after the ACL tear, they had another game, and she played through that, and Coach was telling us before the game, it hadn't locked up yet. They tried to keep her fresh for the first round of the postseason play. By then, it had locked up, he said, but she was able to get out there with an ACL tear and play. I mean, that is Herculean in effort.
That's heart. That's guts. That's mental toughness. That's wanting to be part of something bigger than yourself. If it was about her, she'd sit down. It was about her team. They almost upset Xavier last year in that A-10 final.
Turned around from Amber Gray. She scores and kind of gives a little warning there to Ratterman, saying, hey. From the baseline, doesn't go. Ellie Queen tips it to Ratterman. Foul called on Patchko.
Dayton doing an excellent job finding Ratterman at space. She keeps moving without the ball, doing all the little things to help her team stay ahead.
It looks like you want some gas. Let's flip for some Papa John's pizza and a Pepsi Max.
Okay, I'll ref. Peyton? Hey, man's gotta work, okay?
Okay, Buzz, you call it.
Tails. Heads. He said heads. Oh, not again. I said tails. I know what I heard.
America, you decide.
If America calls it right at this year's Super Bowl coin toss, every Papa Rewards member gets a free pizza and Pepsi Max. Sign up now at papajohns.com. Plus, choose any large pizza with any toppings. Just $11.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Dayton substitution number 14, Sam McKay, for number 20, Patrice.
Welcome back. Sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulties there. Dayton leading Xavier, and we missed Patrice Layler, number 20 for Dayton, has just left the floor, limping off the floor. What did that do to this team, Roz?
Well, it slows them down in transition, and the team just got a little less unselfish. And McKay's going to step in at the point guard spot, very talented, but looking for her shot first.
How many attempts is Dayton going to get on those rebounds, offensive rebound after offensive rebound, until they finally put it away?
For players, the bad habit is to watch the players shooting. You don't box them out. And so now you're giving Dayton a chance to get second chance opportunities, and they capitalize.
Second, third, fourth chance in that particular case. Xavier for two is Jessica Patchko. Patchko with 12 points.
Patchko's a baller. I like her intensity, her guts, her swag out there. She's yelling, telling people what to do. She's a point center.
I like that speed from Shatira Hawks, racing the ball out of bounds to get it for Xavier Gray, working hard to get the foul. Sunday, ESPNU is your home for ACC basketball. And later today, the Miami Hurricanes visit Seth Curry and the 5th-ranked Duke Blue Devils. ACC Sunday Night Basketball presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups on ESPNU, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app at a special time, 3 Eastern. And if you don't have the Watch ESPN app, I highly recommend it. It's
awesome.
Amazing. It's awesome. It really is.
Imagine being in your car and you can listen to the game, or watching the game while you're at an event.
Yep.
Or at work.
Yep, you can do it. Dayton, traveling call on Olivia Applewhite, and such a big deficit for Xavier. Hard for them to overcome. The positives, they have controlled their turnovers since an early, in the first half, slip. What else do you see that's positive for the Musketeers?
I was just noticing, I was thinking, Coach Amy Waugh has a culture of winning growing here. This team's down 20. I haven't seen anyone yell at each other. I haven't seen their effort go down. In fact, I see them battling harder, coming up to each other, talking about the next play. Those are the moments you look for.
Dayton able to pick up a foul, and Sabrina Johnson picks up her second foul for Xavier. She had a turnover here. She looks a little bit flustered. And for Dayton, what do you see for them that they can take forward out of this game as they continue on to conference play?
I think the play of Sam McKay. You know, you need a solid point guard sub, someone who can also add baskets, and she's making good decisions here today. Hasn't turned the ball over much. That was the one critique Coach Jaber had of her. She has great vision, but can sometimes be out of control. She's making all the right decisions.
Ellie Queen kicks it back out to Ali Mawat. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock for the Flyers. Applewhite for three, no good.
That play right there, watching Gray box out, I mean, those are the little things that make a great program one day. There's a lot of top-notch teams that are just relying on talent to jump up and get the ball. But if you can teach a good player to box out, that's a good first step.
Moss kicked that ball in to Kayla Moses, and it was able to draw the foul. So critical for Xavier to use these opportunities at the line as Applewhite picks up her second foul.
You know, I was thinking about this Xavier team in a rebuilding year. What does it take to build a culture of winning? You know, it's moving beyond how to run our plays and why we run our plays. It's buying in, it's building leadership, it's pace.
Gray for two.
A lot of talent on this team. Too many minutes, though, to play.
And Cassie Sant turns around for two down there. Sant, just a sophomore for Dayton, talking about a culture of winning. She has a lot to look forward to with this Flyers program as well. We mentioned the senior class of Dayton has enjoyed 4 consecutive 20-win seasons, or 3 consecutive 20-win seasons leading this year. They're playing well. Ellie Queen decides to go all the way alone and lays it in for two.
I don't think Coach Jaber gave her enough credit by saying she's just a defensive stopper. She's a lot more than that. First of all, her offense started with defense, but she's very long and tall. She can handle the ball, made a good read. She's a smart player. And, you know, for a lot of players who aren't big-time stars, you get yourself going on defense, gets the steal, takes the contact in transition. Players who play defense are tough. That foul wasn't going to stop her from making that layup.
And she takes the free throw as well. 7 points for Ellie Queen. Little turnaround from Gray, who continues to contribute in every way. And you talked about it early on. She lost 30 pounds over the summer. That certainly has benefited her this year when everybody's playing a lot of minutes. She's playing 26 minutes a game.
Yeah, it's dedication. You know, last year was her first year back after the aneurysm. This year, she's getting more into form. And it starts with conditioning.
Hawks, a thief, comes in and finishes.
Hawks is a firecracker. Spark for this team. And now making the heads-up play. Instead of speeding away, as she's a very fast player, she slows it down. She knows where her team is best, and that's in the half-court set. They're finding a lot of success inside. They should continue to go in there.
Gray is called for traveling. And Shatira Hawks, the sophomore out of Baltimore, sees an opportunity, steals this one, and puts it away. She does everything for this team, including playing almost every minute of this game so far. A lot of action together. Second leading scorer in the Big East versus Skylar Diggins, who does so much for the Fighting Irish.
Oh, she's a leader for the team. She's a top defender. She picks the ball from you if you put it in front of her. She can score the basketball. She can shoot the three. She's an excellent passer. She's efficient at her passing. She's got a nice pull-up going middle. Fun to watch.
That's all, right?
And that's it. You know, a couple things you could work on. A lot of hype surrounding Notre Dame, though, and very much well-deserved. More than just Skylar Diggins. It's Devereaux Peters. It's Natalie Novosel. A lot of players getting better with each game.
Yeah, Peters, 16 rebounds a game in the last 3 games.
Peters might be the most aggressive player in the paint that I've seen. She's probably top 10. I mean, she's in there battling. You know, she's got a strong personality. She's emotional out there, and Notre Dame is an emotional team.
So that game follows this one. Jim Barber and Katie Christensen will have that call. As you look again at Shatira Hawks, playing much bigger than 5'3" today with some great speed as well.
First of all, she's going to blow past the defender that's way too close, and then uses Moses' momentum against her, pulls up right on a dime. Moses is still moving backwards as she elevates and knocks down the shot.
You know, you've said that twice now, and it really is key that the defender's too close on her for somebody with her kind of speed.
It's something that a lot of guards don't learn until later in their career. When there's pressure, the instinct is to move east to west. The best guards understand to attack that defender's hip. If they're that close, all they can do is foul you or get blown by.
7 points for Shatira Hawks. For 3, no good. And the rebound pulled down by Taisha Moss. Give a lot of credit to Xavier for the energy in which they're playing. For 3, doesn't go. Rebounds batted around, ends up back with Dayton. All alone, you'll get hurt by Ali Milan.
Milan's going to knock that down, but it comes at the pushing of the pace by Layla. And if you want to stop Dayton in transition, someone has to ball stop her early when she's up in the court.
Under 10 minutes remaining in this game.
Xavier should get the ball inside.
And they heard you, and they did. And that was Jessica Patchko. 14 points for Patchko. She averages 10.5 per game, so she's well above that.
Xavier may not be able to run with Dayton, but they sure have rebounded with them and played in the paint with them.
Put away there, and yes, rebounds, they are right with them. 30-27 at the last break.
It's a high-low action. Great to Patchko, nice up and under. Showed the defender the ball, got her jumping, kept her pivot foot down and finished.
Jessica Patchko, 16 points today as Xavier showing plenty of energy late in the second half.
ACC Sunday Night Basketball is on ESPNU with exclusive games from one of the country's premier conferences as the rivalries continue. This week, Miami battles Duke.
They leave it up to Rivers down the lane. Got it! What a clutch drive!
Freshman phenom Austin Rivers leads the balanced Blue Devil attack in front of the Crazies as the Canes look for the upset.
At the Steve Just Center in an A-10 matchup, Dayton has been leading since the start. Monday night rivalry week tips off with a doubleheader on ESPNU. First at 7 Eastern, Marcus Denman and the 4th-ranked Missouri Tigers visit Big 12 rival Oklahoma. And then at 9 Eastern, 15th-ranked Marquette takes on DePaul. Big Monday, presented by Bud Light on ESPNU, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app Monday night. In this game, Roz, we've pointed out that even though Dayton has led since the beginning, they jumped out to that 9-0 lead, and Xavier had a lot of turnovers. Since then, there's been quite a few positives, really, for both teams.
Well, for Xavier, it starts with Shatira Hawks right now. 5'3", a whole lot of heart, getting steals, pulling up, taking it to the lane in transition, sparking her team.
And there's a turnover again for Dayton. And I love Coach Amy Waugh working her way with some energy down the sideline as well, making sure that that foul was recognized.
Yeah, Taisha Moss might be tired, though. You know, she's played every minute of the game. That's not a good decision. She drove in against 4 defenders and should have kicked it out. You know, but when a team is depending so much on one player, you take those kind of shots, you make those kind of decisions. She actually looks a little winded right now, a little frustrated.
Leads the conference in minutes played per game, as we mentioned, 38 minutes per game. She has not come out at all today. And they're just going to reset the shot clock. Dayton leading Xavier. They came out with their depth, their energy, and a much hotter hand shooting than Xavier did. Xavier ball will not fall for Sabrina Johnson. She gets it back. Able to, oh, nope, it's a traveling call on the senior out of Jeffersonville, Indiana. Number 23, Kayla Moses with the ball in red. Pulls up. It does not fall. Shatira Hawks, 5'3" against Kayla Moses, 5'4". And there's another turnover. Sabrina Johnson, 18 turnovers for Xavier. Very hard to recover from that as they trail Dayton. Center, Dayton leading Xavier. Part of that, Roz, is because of the movement that Dayton's been able to have inside the paint. A lot of opportunities for them.
Well, they're unselfish. Dayton leads the A10 conference in assists per game. And, you know, these players, when they're in transition, they're going to be quick to push it up. One dribble, they kick it up. In the half-court set, they often will move without the ball. Here's that transition. 2 dribbles, 3 dribbles, kick it up. A player is running. Players are in their lane, and the passer is unselfish. Ratterman's going to move without the ball behind the zone, and it's Layler who makes the unselfish, beautiful zip inside. And Layler again dribbles 2-3 times with her head up in transition. It takes 2 people, someone to move, someone to run, and someone to make the unselfish pass.
Well, 32 points in the paint for Dayton to kind of emphasize your point, taking over those 15 assists, 25 made field goals. The other issue today, as we've talked about repeatedly, turnovers. 18 for Xavier, 9 for Dayton. This has been the Achilles heel for Xavier all year.
And, you know, you look at a game and the gap in it, and you see that Xavier scored 22 points off of those turnovers. You eliminate 10 of those points, and you have a close game.
Kayla Moses for 2. Doesn't go. Rebound grabbed by 5'3" Shatira Hawks, who has been energetic throughout this game, turning on the Jets again and again. Xavier avoids another turnover. Trying hard to feed Moss, results in the 19th turnover of the game.
There's the pass.
There's the dish in the paint, that time not finished. Patchko has seen enough and grabs the rebound.
In transition, when Layler has the ball, you know she wants to pass it. Still, though, she gets you believing because she holds on until you commit and then releases the ball. Good point guard play. Layler in transition, heads up.
Nice finish from little Kayla Moses, 23 in red.
Moses ran her lane, but I want to again give credit to Layler. The loft, the timing, the touch that it took to lead her to the basket, but not too far that she's out of control.
Ten seconds on the shot clock. Thought she saw a shot, was able to get that off the glass and draw the foul. And take a look at Dayton again on the other end, and Moses.
Well, it starts the run with Layla Moses running her lane. Just getting 2 or 3 steps ahead of the Xavier defense is all that Layla needs to loft it up for her to finish.
Kayla Moses was a quarterback on a boys tackle football team. He won the league championship in grade school. Love it.
Love it. She's tough. You know, it's enough to say, you know, some girls when they're younger play with boys basketball teams, but you talk about football.
Tackle. I love it. Tackle football, quarterback. You say, you're going to sack me? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Taisha Moss thinks that one.
I wouldn't touch a tackle football game with a 10-foot pole.
Laylor has 4 fouls. Keep an eye on Patrice Laylor when she is back in. And Crouch bats that one away. Ball will remain Dayton's.
It was an excellent cut by Dayton. The pass was a little bit behind the cutter, thrown by Hoover. And that's the touch we were talking about, the difference between Layla and the freshman Hoover out there.
Radaran puts it on the floor. 7 seconds remaining. Ellie Queen takes a shot, goes after the back iron.
Get Patchko inside.
And they did. Patchko picks up the foul.
Patchko does a good job of moving without the ball. She's going to fake the screen and slip it and move towards the basket. You know, the guards are making nice passes to her, but she does such a good job of directing where the ball should go, putting her hand towards the guide hand towards the basket and cutting it into gaps. That's not always a given for a lot of post players. After a screen, sometimes they don't roll, sometimes they don't know which way to go, sometimes they throw up the wrong hand. Patchko's got good timing and touch in there and understanding of where she should be.
What a line she's got today. 17 points, 8 rebounds. Love that putback from Lakeisha Crouch as well. Playing with so much energy, trying to make anything happen from Xavier that they can.
Anne-Marie, it's a 12-point game with 5 minutes left.
Yeah, it's possible. And I mean, it has been 23 points at some point. So Xavier really trying to make it happen. You can see the concern on Jim Jaber's face. Cassie Sant at the line.
Now, this is a rivalry game. Both teams out of Ohio. There's a lot of Dayton fans here at Xavier. But this is Xavier's home. If you let them hang around and this game gets close, the crowd could play a factor in it. Emotions, momentum. Dayton needs to secure their lead.
Patchko has left the game. I know that makes you sad. You're a big fan of hers today.
Yeah.
With this, but they do have Amber Gray back in. And 16 points for Cassie Sant today. Averages 8.2 points per game, so she's playing well above her average as well. 5 minutes remaining. What can Xavier do?
Go inside.
How about 3 from Shatira Hawks?
I am very happy that Hawks proved me wrong on that play. She's like, take that, Roz. I'm taking the 3, and she's hot. This 3 is big, but it's a number of big plays she's made for the team, whether it was a steal on defense that led to a layup in transition, or a pull-up, or the 3 right here that gets the team going and the crowd into it. She's 5'3", but she's full of heart.
11-point game. This one, there's notable games coming up for these teams, and right now by 11, taking a look at the big picture. DePaul and Notre Dame women coming up after our game. Miami and Duke men later today. Missouri, Oklahoma, and Marquette, DePaul on Monday. We got a lot of great basketball for you in the next 2 games and the next 2 days. Meanwhile, our game has just gotten very interesting. And Shatira Hawks, number 3, tireless. Even though she has played 31 minutes today, Taisha Moss has played all 35 minutes. And Xavier on a 19-8 run. Every opportunity critical there. Is it going to be another turnover? And it's a foul. And that one hurts as Ashley Waniger picks up her 4th.
You know, with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game, and 2 players on the bench that you can actually sub in. Xavier players have to gut it out and make smart plays. You can't let fouls negate your aggressive play.
Sabrina Johnson comes back in for the Musketeers. And this is the closest we've seen this game since the very start. Ellie Queen makes 1 of 2. And we have an injury for a moment at Cassie Sant. Touching her left leg.
It's going to be a big loss for Dayton. You know, Cassie Sant has been on fire today, knocking down mid-range shots, a couple of post moves in the paint, providing defense on Patchko or Gray. She's really been the hot hand for the team outside of Sam McKay.
Yeah, 16 points for Cassie Sant. She just left 6 rebounds.
If Xavier was trying to complete a comeback, having Sant off the court would be a big part of that.
8 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And Sabrina Johnson, an ill-timed foul.
If you're Amy Wall, I think you got to get Patchko back in here. Someone else. Johnson is not, is having a little bit of trouble since she's been in the game. Boxing out on rebounds, boxing out on free throws, playing some post defense. It's been a lot of second chance opportunities for Dayton without Patchko in the game. She's back now.
Applewhite at the line. Misses it. 2 Xavier players collide. Ball ends up in Dayton hands. And Dayton has spent some time down here with opportunity after opportunity. There's a heads-up play from Lakeisha Crouch.
Crouch saving it under their basket. You know, lucky to get the ball bouncing off the Dayton player's foot. Xavier is hustling. They just got to now convert on that hustle.
Xavier trailing by 12. They've won their last 2 conference games. They had it rough in this one. 6 turnovers very early. They didn't score until the 12-minute mark in the first half. But they are working hard. And Crouch picks up the fall, and the basket counts. It's a 10-point game as Lakeisha Crouch makes great plays on both sides of the floor. 3:50 remaining in this game. The Cintas Center, Dayton and Xavier, a 10-point game. Roz Gold on Woodey. We did not think it would be this tight, or people might not, when you had such a big lead earlier. What has Xavier done to get themselves back into this game?
2 things. Shatira Hawks, and they went inside. And they need to continue doing that. Patchko, Gray are the answers inside, and the spark coming from the perimeter is from Hawks. Those 3 players need to be a part of every offensive possession. And let's not forget about Moss. You know, she's a go-to player. She's their veteran guard. They've got a lot of players on the court right now who can give them something good.
Only 7 available players, 4 of them in double figures as Crouch misses that free throw. Everybody contributing, as you mentioned, Moss seeing so much pressure all day. Ellie Queen thought about it, decided against it, decides to drive, kicks it back to Applewhite. It does not go, and Gray fights for the rebound for another opportunity for Xavier. Third foul for Ellie Queen.
Amber Gray at the line for Xavier, shooting 1.
I think it was a foul, definitely. You know, she's out of position trying to rebound the ball. She's not boxing out. She's reaching over the top and giving body contact. It's a good call.
The missed free throws, the missed free throws at the end here when it's this tight. Painful for the Musketeers, who are just 72% from the line, but the last 2 games they've been shooting 83% from the free throw line. They needed that today to close up this gap. Ellie Queen finishes.
It's a sign of a young team that doesn't know how to capitalize yet on momentum. You know, instead of bringing the lead down to single digits, you give away the opportunity and Dayton comes down and scores.
Moss, rare look inside, unable to finish. Applewhite with the ball, gives it back to Layler. Ratterman for three.
Ratterman's been off today, but her teammates have stepped up for her, specifically Cassie Sant, Sam McKay. Laylor may not have been as effective scoring-wise, but really is distributing the ball well. Haven't heard much from her lately because Xavier has been able to keep Dayton in the half-court set these past few minutes, and Dayton hasn't produced in it.
Just over 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. It's a 12-point game. And coming up next, 23rd ranked DePaul against 2nd ranked Notre Dame. More women's basketball. Jim Barber and Katie Christensen standing by. Jessica Patchko at the line, 17 points today. But that is the 4th missed free throw in a row for this team.
It's unfortunate. You know, when you watch video back, when you address the stat sheet tomorrow after the game, these are the things that will haunt the team. But there are many good things that Xavier will take away from this game as well. I mean, it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. There's a lot of time to come back and win this thing.
Yeah, it's possible. 11 points. Divide these two teams. You see Layler, number 20 in red, with plenty of spark left as Ellie Queen kicks it outside. Shot is up for three. It's no good. Ends up in the hands of Shatira Hawks.
Go inside. Patchko wants it.
Was that a little kick of the ball? Did you see that from Layler? I think it was off her foot.
Yeah, it was a kick ball.
Yep.
Patchko runs the floor. She doesn't turn her arms and chest to the guard until she gets in deep. She's trying to get in deep and get good position.
Put in by Shatira Hawks. 12 points for the sophomore out of Baltimore.
For Xavier to pull off the upset, all they have to do is continue going inside, getting Hawks on the move, and not shooting themselves in the foot with turnovers and with missed free throws.
Taking a look at Amber Gray from Xavier, another one who's been contributing consistently today.
There's a lot of players contributing for this team. It's Gray, it's Hawks, it's Patchko. A number of players stepping up, with Moss struggling a little bit in the second half.
Right, and Moss, because she's doubled, doing her part, really drawing the attention, giving the room to the other players.
I'll tell you what, when you play with an excellent player or a player that gets double teams, it makes your job that much easier. It makes you better because no one's paying attention to you. So you can go out there and shoot your open three or take a drive because no one's going to help side.
Xavier outscoring Dayton in this half, 36-28. Closing that gap as they trail by just 9 with 1:43 left. Shatira Hawks not looking at all tired, having played almost every minute of this game. Pulls up, she's feeling good. That one does not fall. Minute and a half left. Layler and Dayton. Ellie Queen going to go around again off the glass. Rebound is grabbed by Gray.
Xavier should get a good shot here.
Another draw of the foul for Taisha Moss. And both these teams, as they look ahead, Dayton has Charlotte and then St. Bonaventure coming up. What do you think they're going to take, first of all, out of this game?
Well, that they've got to put together a full 40 minutes. They need all their players to come and play a good game, especially in the senior Ratterman, whose number-wise isn't doing poorly, but just needs to assert herself more in this offense.
And for Xavier, Taisha Moss at the line. Makes both of hers. This is the smallest gap we've seen in the score in the entire game with just a minute left. There's a 9-0 lead for Dayton. This is as tight as it's been since those first few points of the game.
Dayton needs to use the clock to their advantage. You know, if Dayton can knock down these free throws and just use the clock, they really can pull this game out with some ease, because Xavier is not necessarily a three-point shooting team, although Hawks is hot. You have to just be aware of her. But they're a team that needs a lot of time just to get a two-point basket. And with 51 seconds, you know, that might not provide enough time for them to stay in this game and pull off the upset.
Patchko comes back in. Patchko and Gray down low for the Musketeers as Samantha McKay with 11 points.
Xavier needs to come down and score a two quick. All they need is a two, but they need it fast.
Yeah, what a change we've seen from the first half when Dayton was pushing it. Xavier needed to use a shot clock. Now Xavier needs to really pick things up. The seconds remaining. Shatira Hawks brings the ball up. They trail by 8.
That's not what you want. That's what you want. Patchko inside. Go to work.
And Patchko draws the foul.
And you always know when Patchko is ready, because all of a sudden she's putting her hands up. She's trying to get as deep as she can and muscle her way to the rim. Big, strong player. The difference in the second half is Xavier has been able to play their game, going inside, half-court sets, slowing it down. The second half, Dayton has not had much success in transition, and that's what they want to do, run.
Patchko makes the front of that one. And Xavier crowd not happy with that at all. Xavier has given away a lot of opportunities here late in the game from that free throw line. They're 19 for 29 from the stripe. Hoover, the freshman. If Dayton pulls this win out, what do you think Xavier can take away from this game?
Well, certainly it's a confidence-building game. You just played with, you know, one of the top 3 teams in the conference. You've certainly shown that you're a tough team in the paint, and it's a confidence builder for Hawks, a young player who's learning just how good she can be. This is a loss that I think Coach Amy Waugh can be okay with.
Oh, how frustrating for them to come so close after being down by 23 points at one point.
Yeah,
you look at Shatira Hawks, she looks disappointed.
Yeah, but a lot of the reason that they can't come out with the win is because they turn the ball over, things that they can improve in time.
Yeah, over 20 turnovers for this Xavier